Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me at benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcast because People of Distinction is a nationally and internationally syndicated show because of listeners like you. Our shows are available across all major podcast distributors as well as YouTube. And if you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. We appreciate the support. Continue to like and follow and sit back and strap in because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Luisa Tennant. Now we're going to be discussing her amazing book, Your Army of Dollars coloring book. Now, it's available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the regular online book resellers. But while you're at it, understand, people, this book is not just the coloring book, all right? There is another version that is just the fictional narrative, both of which you're going to want to pick up. You got to head on over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble, the regular online book resellers, in order to do just that. And before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity and point out the fact that Luisa was brought to our network by one of the best firms in the business. And you know, I'm talking about ARPress. So for my writers out there, listen, if you've gone through your process creating your masterpiece and now you need help moving that book you just developed, well, contact ARP. They're one of the best in the business to do it, and this is exactly what they specialize in. So head on over to authorreputationpress.com today and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help move your creative endeavors. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Luisa here on the line. In this enlightening episode, people, we are sitting down with an inspiring author whose children's narrative brings the value of money to life through engaging storytelling. You and your children are going to discover how her characters navigate the journey of earning, saving, and spending wisely, all while imparting essential lessons for young minds. This is one you're going to want to tune into. When we talk about financial literacy, why does it have to come when we're adults? Why does it have to come when we're advancing in age? Shouldn't it start with the youngest minds of them all? This is a book that is very entertaining, but it's very educational at the same time. And listen, Luisa is the expert, man. It's her book. She's written it. You're going to want to sit back and strap in. Have your notebooks ready because there are going to be some gems we discuss during today's interview. Luisa, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Luisa, listen, when the opportunity presented itself, we jumped at it. I love the concept of your book. Before we go into the book, start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself and your background, Luisa.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, I'm the oldest of 11 children and second mother to most of my children, of my brothers and sisters. I helped my mother raise them, and then I became a camp counselor. I would, in the camp counselor position, I had to bring children to the candy store, and I would help them. They had a little checkbook going on, and I would help them balance their checkbooks. So that was kind of fun. And I don't know, just working with children during my life is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, thank you very much for that. We can get behind it. And, just side note, I thought I had a big family. I'm the youngest of 6. You got us beat there with 11. Never a dull moment, though, I'm sure.
No, never, no. But when I was a young kid, I remember getting $5. And at this time, I didn't have this book to guide me, so I spent it all on candy. And it was fun, but I don't have anything to show for that $5.
Right. That's a great point. I love what you're talking about, and I think it's the precipice of something very important. So I'm going to jump right to it, Luisa. Let's talk about some saving strategies. What creative methods do your characters use to save money, and how do you hope that these strategies resonate with young readers?
Okay, well, it all starts out with the jar system. And the jar system has been around for lots of years.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it on TV and all that stuff. But, and it's a nice concept and everything, but it didn't really all come together until I started going to these seminars put on by T. Harv Eker, the author of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Yeah.
And there was this one section in the seminar that taught us how to separate the money. And if I didn't take anything away from that seminar, that's what I took away. And I started applying that to myself, and it just kind of resonated from there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the way that I got to the children's book is I was at work, and for some reason, the conversation about your paychecks just started coming in. The people were starting to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And they always said, oh, the money just comes and the money just goes. It's just always there. And in my mind, knowing from the seminars, I was like, oh, no, you've got to save it. You've got to save it. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to think about these dollars as little soldiers, and how can they protect you and guide you through your life. And so that's where it germinated. So like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, we have to learn to become a commander of all these children, of these little soldiers, and soldier dollars, and they have to go here, they have to go there, and eventually everything can just build up and help you make a very rich life.
There you have it. Connecting to
Mm-hmm.
that, let's go into the concept of being very, I want to say mature, but just spending wisely. Well, Luisa, how do you convey the idea of making thoughtful spending choices in your story? And are there examples of impulsive versus intentional spending?
Well, I would say that when you do get money, the essential things are supposed to come first, and then anything that you have extra can be for the fun.
Mm-hmm.
We even have a play account, so that's really nice, so that you can always, enjoy the money that you have. Because if it's all savings, you're going to get all bored with it. You're going to get almost cheap with it, and that's not the way to do it. You can't be miserly.
Mm-hmm.
It's money just has a very important part in your life. And it's not a necessary evil. It's something that if you treat it correctly, it can bring joy to your life.
Yeah.
But you have to treat it correctly.
Yeah, well, listen, everything in moderation, right? Having that plan,
Yes.
that roadmap established is key. People, again, the book is called Your Army of Dollars Coloring Book. Remember, it's not just a coloring book. There is also another version of it you're going to want to pick up. You got to head on over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble to do so. And you got to thank Luisa Tennant for bringing it to your table, because this is something you want to get involved in. And this is something your children, as well as some of my parents out there, are going to learn a lot about. Okay. Following off of that, Luisa, who inspired you to become a writer?
Who inspired me? It's so weird, because when I got out of school, out of college, I never thought I would ever write a book. I would just never do it. But it's just my experiences with the seminar and the coworkers, and then the idea that popped up into my head, and I thought, oh, let's do this. Let's just do it. And writing a children's book, you got to be really careful with the sentences. You have to present the children's book in a way that they understand. They have to use the sentences and words that they understand. So in that sense, it was easy, because I'm pretty good in English. But it's you got to have a very good artist also, and I'm not a very good artist, but there's this artist that did the illustrations for me. His name is Joe Huffman, and he is an absolute fantastic. So I basically put the story together, and through communication, because I live in Chicago and he lives in, I think it's Washington D.C. I'm not sure, and we just communicated, and he made these illustrations so beautiful that not only, for the regular book, but I just had to have him do a coloring book too. So that's what we did.
Luisa, curiosity for myself here with this next one, but what would you say throughout this entire process was a highlight for you? Or maybe something that surprised you?
Oh, the surprises, yes. It's so weird because I've listened to some of your podcasts and the authors. They always come back and they say, oh, well, somebody was behind me and it felt like they were writing the book or something like that. Now, with me, nobody was really behind me, but all of a sudden towards the end, the book was writing itself. It was the weirdest thing. Now, with the children's book, you're limited to about 30 pages. And then you can't really get into all the intricacies of the money and stuff like that. But at the end, it kind of looked like, okay, I was talking about taxes, and I was thinking, well, they're kind of like a necessary evil because, taxes, they pay for garbage pickup, they pay for the policemen, they pay for the fire department, and of course the army. And, I was and that was kind of like the end of the book. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, this makes it look like taxes are the best thing in the world. Well, everybody knows that's really not true.
Right.
So at the end, because it ended that way, and I had no other way that I could really describe it, I put a special page in the back, and it's a note to the parents. And it shows the parents different ways to invest the money, for their children that can legally keep the taxes low. And so that, in a sense, that would keep the politicians, hopefully that would keep the politicians honest, because, if they only have so much money to work with, then they can't use it for other things or pocket the money.
Yeah.
They can only spend it on so much. It's kind of like our way of telling them, you better, we gave you this money, so you better be careful with it and spend it the way you're supposed to, because we're not going to give you any more. And we might even vote you out of office if you do screw up. Okay.
Listen, I love that. That's a note for another podcast, because we can dive down that rabbit hole, and there are a lot of discoveries to be made. As we start to close out of here, Luisa, I'm curious. Now, I often like to ask, for feedback that was received on the book, right? How is the public interpreting this? How are they taking it? How are they receiving it? Well, this is a children's narrative, so I want to hear from the kids, all right? Luisa, have you received any feedback from kids who read your book? And if so, how do they react to the financial lessons that are woven into the narrative?
Oh, well, I did give it out to the books at my church, and they absolutely love it. They love the pictures and everything, but the parents are the ones that are most impressed, because they're realizing that they can teach their children from the very beginning how to approach money, how to earn it, how to spend it, and it just helps them to bring up their children. So that's what happens, to the best of their ability, to bring up their children.
People, I'm telling you, it starts with this book. This is the roadmap to financial literacy for you and your children. Again, it's called Your Army of Dollars coloring book by Luisa Tennant. Head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Make sure you pick up your copies there today. This is a fantastic journey for you to embark upon. Luisa, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you so much.